Oh, I have a headache.
Maybe it's a tumor.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor. It's the SeanGeek podcast, which I download off of SeanMcGinnity.ca.
The SeanGeek podcast, which you download off of SeanMcGinnity.ca?
That's right. And you should too. Don't cop out.
Howdy.
How's it going?
Oh, not bad. Yourself?
Okay. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. I had everything all set up for when we did the Skype call, so I had cables plugged into different things. I had to reset it.
Nice. Did you listen to the Skype call at all? The Skype episode?
No.
I used the audio off of Skype instead of the audio you had.
Oh, okay. Was it better?
It was really good.
Oh.
I was surprised it sounded good at all, to be honest.
Cool. Well, that's good to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's insane how well it sounded.
Well, that's good. It doesn't seem to, well, I mean, when we were doing it, it didn't sound like it was high fidelity or anything when we were listening, doing it itself, but I guess maybe when it was recording it did it.
Like you sounded great. You were loud, if anything, actually.
Oh, it was too loud?
Which is weird because on your recording, you were quiet.
Oh, yeah, because that's what I hear. I'm not too sure what records through because I don't have a monitor to see what the levels are.
Yep, of course.
Yeah. Damn.
So, COVID update, I guess, is that I'm still busy as fuck.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's insanely busy. Like I can't keep up. It's really weird. I guess I'm one of the lucky ones.
Right.
You know, to have a job and not be let go, I guess, at this point. So, I mean, I'm grateful for that. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, fortunately, I think the people who aren't working will be reimbursed to some extent.
Yeah.
I don't know if that can be, what length that they could prolong that with, but for now, as long as people would stay home and stop congregating in parks and figure, oh, my friend just lives down the street. I'd just stay home.
Yeah.
They just can't. I don't know. They don't understand. If it was if it was wartime and they actually had to go to war, and we had, the martial law and all this other stuff going on. If they had that to compare to, they would stay the hell home. But because
and that's kind of what's happening, right? Like,
yeah, because they have no clue, what hard times are at all. This isn't hard times really. It's
not in comparison or by contrast.
I mean, mentally, for a lot of people, I'm sure it's taken. I mean, just regular life in general kind of takes its toll, and then just kind of add this to the mix, and I'm sure it doesn't help. And I feel for those people because I mean it doesn't. You're trying to find relief somehow, and you can't go out, you can't do anything, and just normal people in general just not being able to go out. People are going stir crazy and being inside all winter and having the nice weather come out, and everyone's got cabin fever, and I can understand their plight wanting to go to the parks where there's no one at the parks because no one's allowed at the parks, and they get to the parks and it's wall to wall people.
I think they shut down parks, right?
I think they did. And if they didn't, I sure hell hope they did. And apparently, was I reading, was it 19 people you know that thing where they were showing the kids out in Florida on the beaches and whatnot. So apparently, from what I read, there's about 19 of them that tested positive for COVID. So that's 19 people who probably spread it to other people that aren't aware of it yet. And there again, they just do not understand the context of it. So, unfortunately. But we will get through this. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's just, in the meantime, it's just all it's going to do is just prolong everything.
Yeah. Like, was it somebody who said this now? I can't remember if it was us talking about it or not. But someone said if we all had done nothing, and we all had caught the virus, and everybody had the virus, it would be over by now. But there'd be the
death toll.
Dead.
Yeah, well, the death toll.
Yeah.
But the thing is it's just like in Europe or these places where they've got truckloads of bodies that they're taking away, and they have to bury them all or incinerate them. Like there's just so many, and to have it all at once, that's what this big squash the curve thing is. So that, if you do get sick and you do end up in the hospital, you have a lot better chance of getting the medical care that you need. You start infiltrating every place, and everybody needs everything now. So everybody needs masks now. Everybody needs ventilators now. Everyone's competing. In the U.S., they're outbidding each other trying to get, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and one side, it's almost every man for himself. And on the other side, it's like, help your fellow man. Like you want to be able to help people. This is almost like, Earth versus Mars thing. Like this isn't like, the rich people and the poor people and all these different ethnic groups and what. No. This is like not the U.S. versus Canada or Mexico or all this other stuff. This is like the world versus this pandemic. Yeah. So it's almost like, Mars came by and said, we're going to compete against Earth. Well, we're Earth. I mean, we're our own advocates, like for our own people. So you want to help the people that's around you, because I mean that's what it's all about. When the dust settles, it just like this is a stupid comparison. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but it's like when they had the war, and they had the concentration camps, and all the people that took their homes, and then when everything was over and everybody came back to their homes, I mean, it kind of flip-flopped the other way, where they were killing, Germans because of what they did. So what's going to happen at the end of this pandemic? It'll be like, okay, the people that helped out, those are the people that will be definitely respected. The people who took advantage of it will be shunned.
Yes.
And I hope they are.
Because,
I mean, if you can't, because I was reading there was three types of people. There was A, B, and C. I think A was the people who don't really need to go out and go to a whole bunch of stuff because they're usually stocked up. They're usually well prepared. The second type of people are the people that panic, the people that go and they buy everything because they don't have anything. They're not prepared at all. They there's nothing in the cupboards, nothing in the fridges, and they go and they do that. And then there's the third type of people, which are, they call them millennials, right? They show up 3 days later and wonder why everything's fucking gone. It's like, maybe I should start getting ready. It's like, okay. Life lessons for the young. But anyway, I digress.
You digress quite well.
I digress. That's my little rant.
So for the last few days, I've been super swamped with work, and so that means I've been listening to a lot of music. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I mean, I get shit running all day long.
Right.
and I don't know, it's been, I'm caught up on podcasts, strangely enough. So now I'm actually deep diving into people's catalogs and stuff, and back catalogs of stuff. So that's pretty cool. Like, I never thought I'd get caught up with my podcast. So that's awesome. I haven't run out of any, that's for sure. But I've been listening to, I was listening to Quoth The Sun today on Bandcamp. And I created a Bandcamp account today, which there'll be news about that later, what we're doing there. But we can actually have our podcast on there as well on Bandcamp.
Oh, okay.
Which is primarily why I created the account. And I don't know why we're not. There's a shit ton of podcasts on Bandcamp. It's great. So going to be going down that rabbit hole. But I've been chatting with a lot of people online. I don't know. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say something. I forgot what it was now. there's this
Quoth The Sun.
Yeah, maybe I was going to say One Time at Bandcamp, but that's
One Time at Bandcamp.
That's
One Time at Bandcamp. We played with Quoth The Sun.
That's past. Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm trying to. Just trying to load my my Facebook here. There's this comedian. I can't remember his name, but he's the guy that. I'd seen a post one time, and it was regarding these two lawyers, right? And they said something about, if you ever are in a dispensary or something, and or if you're working at a dispensary or whatnot, and the cops come and raid the place, and he's vulgar. So I'm gonna say a couple of vulgar things. Just he says, "Shut the fuck up." If the police come and question you, shut the fuck up. I don't care if you work there, you came by, you just walked by, just shut the fuck up. And they reiterate this 3 or 4, 5 different times. And this guy is now regarding the COVID, like people staying home, he says, just stay the fuck home. Go grab your kids that are on the beach by the scruff of the neck, tell them to get in the fucking house and stay there. And he's awesome. And every day he's got a new updated thing. And he says, this isn't March Madness. This is, type of thing. It's awesome. He's pretty cool. Like, I just got to find what the guy's name was now.
One thing I wanted to go over was March. I was just looking at our numbers for March and our top episodes for the month. So I think I wanted to get your take on some of these episodes.
Okay.
See what you remember and don't remember.
Oh,
but
probably more not remember than remember.
Probably
with me, yeah.
So this is interesting. So coming in at number 10 last month.
Okay.
Was season 5, episode 4.
Wow.
It was Star Wars: The Evil Within alumni panel at KeyCon.
Oh, that's awesome.
That came in at number 10. That episode is from June 3rd, 2018.
Now, this was like the actual footage from KeyCon, like the actual stuff?
Yeah, well, we recorded in that room.
Right. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah,
that was fun.
I can see that one standing for a while. Because that was...
It still gets regular downloads, regularly. It's crazy. It still keeps popping up.
Right.
It's not a top 10 of all time, but it's in the top 20 of all time. Number 9. And this is just downloads in the month of March. Okay.
Okay.
So number 9 was Imperial versus Metric. That's from April of last year.
Oh my God! This is when we were talking about miles per hour, the 62 versus 110 or 100 and whatever it was. So, oh my God! The worst thing is when you're trying to convert. Yeah, well, I mean, you got metric and you got imperial, and depending if you get the recipe and you have 2 different items you bought, and they're in 2 different format. So then you have to
That
try
was that episode.
Actually, we just did that. Just today. You know that the gravy that you can buy from Costco?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it says 1 liter per cup of gravy mix.
Right.
So I figured, well, the gravy mix that we normally buy, what is it? And it was like 21 grams, or I don't know, it was whatever it was. And it was supposed to be a cup of water. And it's not even, if I put in a quarter cup, it's not even a quarter cup. It's very, very close. So we're going to do like, say 1 cup per quarter cup, and then just try and figure it out. So it's not an exact science, but it kind of gives you an idea anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got heated in that episode.
Is that what it is when I get heated? Is that what people like?
I think so. Yes, it's exactly. That's the barometer. The amount of heat in Todd coming off the top of Todd's head is in direct relation to the ratings of this particular episode.
Right, so I have to act like the Rappaport guy, or what's his name? I can't remember now. I'm still looking.
Number 8 was the episode I did about Leonard Cohen that I recorded back in December of 2016.
Really?
Yep. It is the top downloaded episode of all time, is this one.
Wow.
It had a resurgence 2 months ago? Or wait, was the month that we did the interview awaiting the answer. It was neck and neck.
Wow.
For between that episode from 2016 and the awaiting the answer episodes.
Wow.
So this episode, I wonder if I can actually look at it here. Open a new tab. Let's see. So all time. Let's see. How many? One. Doing the math here. Oh, that's not right. That's not right either. It's not giving my total numbers for this episode. Damn.
So this is So where are you getting the
this is right from our Podbean site.
Hmm. Okay.
There we go.
Podbean.
Oh, that is right. So it's roughly at about 5. Roughly, it's hard to say how many listens it's had, but it's had roughly about 550 listens.
Wow. That's quite a bit.
That's a lot. And it's double number 2. Like the second most downloaded episode of all time.
Double number 2.
Like the number 2 most downloaded episode of all time.
Oh, okay.
This Leonard Cohen episode is double that. Like there's no contender for. There's nobody even that's going to bump this at number 1. At the rate it's going, it's like ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, so it's still charting.
Wow, no kidding.
And most of the downloads happen in the span of a couple of months this year. And then it gets another, 20 or 30 downloads a month.
So because everybody's home right now, is the downloads you figure going up?
No, it seems to have crested. It's generally in about anywhere between 6th place and 10th place every month for the last several months.
Oh.
And they had a peak back in I don't know, was it November or something?
Right.
November, December had a peak, I think. That was number 8. Number 7 was the part 2 episode we had with Karen Rizula. We were talking about the Mandalorian and Star Wars and all that stuff. It was the second half of that episode.
Oh.
And that was done back in February.
Yeah, that wasn't too long ago, yeah.
No. Mid-February we did that one. We released that one, so it's still doing well. Number 6 is I don't even know. I have to go back and listen. We did an episode on the Tragically Hip post Gord Downey.
Okay.
That was back in 2016. Yeah, that one's fairly regularly, at least in the top 20 all the time.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then number 5, Meet the Geeks in Quarantine. That was the episode that just came out.
Oh, I got a message from Danica that says if we need to know anything about pop culture, we just need to text her and she'll give us the answers.
During the show? Oh, we should do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, she says we're such dads.
Yeah, we know nothing about nothing.
We sound, yeah. Hey there, whippersnapper.
Yeah, that's right. We're old. Number 4, Number 4 was the Seth Anderson episode, which is the week before.
Yep.
And then number 3 was The Lion Sleeps Tonight, going to the bank machine, the Google episode, whatever.
Right, you had to go to the bank machine and pump your gas.
Yeah. So that episode came in at number 3. Actually, very, very strongly at number 3. In fact, it almost upset number 2. Actually, they were neck and neck all month.
Wow.
But number 2 was Meet the Critical Beaver, which had Beaver Does Movies and Primarily Critical.
Right.
Episode, the part 1 came in number 2.
Nice.
And number 1 was the second part of that.
Oh, awesome.
Now, to be fair, let me just see here. Yeah, and those were both of those episodes released, but those were the first 2 episodes of the month.
Right.
So they had pretty decent legs.
Sweet.
Yeah, so you remember all those, I think.
Yeah, I remember those ones.
Okay, so top 10 of all time. I'm just going to go over this really, really, really quick.
Okay.
So number 1 was that Leonard Cohen episode I told you about.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to say really quick, that episode, when I recorded it, it was me breaking up with listening to Leonard Cohen music forever. That's what the episode was about. Why I'm not going to listen to Leonard Cohen anymore.
Really?
Yep. And it wasn't a diss on Leonard Cohen at all.
Right.
But it's just that all of his music is so damn depressing.
The style of music, yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, different strokes for different folks. I mean, it's not...
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own type of music they like.
Well, I'd recommend listening to it, Todd. You probably haven't listened to it, but I'd recommend listening to it. It's good. It's actually very philosophical about a lot of things, and I don't know.
Well, there again, I don't usually listen to the words. It's more the feeling of the actual song. So I think... But
I don't talk about the music at all. Like, I don't talk about specific songs. It's about what Leonard Cohen represents.
Oh.
He's a security blanket to a lot of people, and I don't need him anymore as a security blanket.
Oh.
I don't know. It's very good. I have to admit, it's probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Well, definitely one of my favorite solo episodes for sure. But yeah. And anyway, number 2 was Meet the Geeks versus Main Event.
Right.
So that was the one we did in January, like the first episode we recorded of the year.
Yeah, I like those ones.
Oh, those are super fun. So that was just you, me, and Corey.
Right.
Number 3 was our 200th episode. And that was a review of the podcast festival that we did.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then number 4 was Strange Case of Chris Hardwick. Remember we talked about Chris Hardwick, the founder of Nerdist, and his whole case where he was fired from every single thing he was doing.
Right.
And then later came back, and then apparently he was able to disprove all the allegations against him. And he had to rebuild his life after that. So that's what that episode was about. You and I talked about that. And then number 5 is special guest Tracy Ann Leith, her first appearance on the show.
Huh.
I don't know. He just does really well.
Wow. I actually found the guy's name.
Okay.
It's Michael Rappaport.
Oh, Michael Rappaport. Oh, yeah.
Rappaport. Yeah.
Yeah. I follow him on Instagram. He's great. He's one of my favorite Hollywood guys.
Apparently he has a podcast now.
I didn't know about that.
New. I am Rappaport podcast is here and disruptive. And then he's got a link.
He's doing a comedy tour right now. I didn't realize that podcast too. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he was talking about his having to deal with the airports and stuff and having to get his money back because he does a lot of touring, right? So he's got a lot of a lot of tickets. Yeah.
My favorite character in True Romance, and I think Beaver will agree with me. He's definitely my favorite thing in True Romance, which is Beaver's favorite movie of all time.
Really?
Yeah, he's just fucking great. Okay, and I'll rattle off the next ones here. So 6 was the episode we did on Neil Peart.
Yeah.
Number 7 was the episode you and I did with Cheech and Chong and snowblowers, which is crazy. After that, at number 8 is Dome at the new Club St. Boniface.
Wow. Okay.
Number 9 is introducing Eileen Gould.
Right.
And then number 10 is electronic drums or not, where we talked about whether I should buy electronic drums or not.
Well, hey, a lot of people. That's a few bucks.
Yeah.
Anybody, just like when I do any research for anything, anything I can find, I'll look it up and whatnot. So if someone saw the podcast with that on it and they wanted to know, well, they've got your personal opinion on it. So it's always nice to have someone actually talk about it instead of reading in a review going, well, is this a biased review? Was this a review that someone from the actual company wrote and put it on there? Or was it an actual person who actually did it? So someone who knows you or even doesn't know you, but you're actually explaining why and what you found, I'm sure is way more informative than looking at a review.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Get that personal touch.
I think that's what the people that like the show, that's what they like. I think that's exactly what they like.
Yeah. Anything, that's informative too helps. But then again, it depends on how they search. And do you know how the search engine works with a podcast? If someone kind of looks it up, can you look up, well, today I want to kind of look into...
It's all based on tags, on how you tag the episodes.
Okay.
100% based on that. So I put tags on every episode, and then I distribute it to multiple social medias.
Right.
And then I tag each social media separately, because Facebook doesn't tag the same as Instagram, which doesn't tag the same as Twitter.
Right.
So I look up the topics we discuss, and I list all the topics. And then what I do is I look up to see if they have tags in each of those social medias.
Right.
So, yeah, it's crazily time-consuming.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I've got my my Y adapter came in.
Nice.
Yeah, so now I can have 5 people in the studio. So I can put 2 microphones off of one Y adapter, so we get 1 extra person.
Oh, nice. Good. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, because our last one when we had 5, they had to kind of share a mic, which was kind of cumbersome, and I'm sure it wasn't very comfortable. But we'll be set up for next time for sure.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
What else did I want to say? Oh, yeah, I was listening to a couple of podcasts this week that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
And the 2 are Decibel Geek,
which
we talked about briefly yesterday.
Right.
Yesterday before. And they're recording for the first time ever over Skype because they're not in the same room anymore.
Right.
And the shenanigans of them trying to take phone calls on the first COVID episode was fucking hilarious.
Hello?
Yeah. That's fucking
How do
great.
I call in? How do you call into a Skype?
I'm listening to this week's episode. I'm still halfway through it. So, I don't know. Shout out to those guys. That show's really good. They look after the music that you and I grew up with.
Right.
They still, support a lot of the harder rockin' bands that we like, and I don't know. It's a great show. They're always showcasing new music,
Right.
which is awesome. There's very few stations showcasing new music. It's like music with a 4-piece. I mean, like guitar, bass, and drums. Like you're not. There's not too many shows focusing on that kind of music anymore, especially new music of that type. So good show.
Right.
And then listening to a lot of creative conundrums this week, which is Azeroth the History. We got Senpai from over there.
Yep.
So I've been listening to, got caught up on all their episodes this week.
Right.
And, hearing their COVID episodes. Everyone's been COVID episodes, so it's kind of interesting, depressing at the same time. But I don't know. It's good to hear how everyone's doing and shaping up and
Yeah. Well, we're
surviving through it.
We're making history as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
This is like, what someone said this week, and I can't remember if that was in our last episode or not, but someone said, this is World War III. Because there'll never be a World War like 1 or 2 ever again. This is the new version of a war.
Wow.
Where the world is united in a war against something. And that's what this is.
Right.
It's like, wow, never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
So there'll never be a World War III in the traditional sense.
Right. So have you been watching all the conspiracy theory people and listening to what they're saying? Like, have you run into that at all?
Like with the COVID stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've heard a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the destabilization of the American economy theory, it was created for that reason and that reason alone, because the United States would never be able to handle a pandemic because they just don't have the infrastructure, the leadership, and anything to deal with it properly. And they don't have a healthcare system. They have nothing to deal with it. Like, sure, they got scientists that can work on, finding a cure, but they don't have the capability of sustaining it for any length of time. Other countries are far better set up.
Right.
I've heard that theory.
Right. Yeah. I
want to use that in gaming, to be honest. It's a good gaming scenario.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure this will probably give a lot of ideas for, and actually Netflix. I haven't watched, apparently a lot of people, because just like Christmas, people want to watch Christmas movies. When it's Halloween, people want to watch Halloween. So now we get this virus thing. Everyone's watching, these pandemic shows and stuff and I can't be bothered. I mean, I listen to it all day long, and I get home on the news, and it's like, you know what, just turn off. We're going to put Netflix on. Anything but virus related. I watched that new Tiger one that everyone seems to be talking about.
Did you watch that?
We're watching, I think we're on episode 3, I believe.
That's fine.
My God. Have you watched it?
I saw that we finally watched the trailer. Like, what the fuck is this stupid thing?
Oh my God.
And I watched the trailer and I laughed my ass off. I was like, this is real? Like, is this actually real?
I don't know. It's one of those things where, you watch a show, and then as it goes, in the middle of it, you get this twist, right? Which kind of goes, oh, really? And then they go to a commercial, right? And then they leave everybody in a cliffhanger, and then they continue on with the show. This show starts off, and then it has a twist, and you go, oh, cool. And then there's another twist, and then there's another twist, and then there's another twist. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like, what? which is really weird. Which is probably why it's won. I think it's won some awards, or it's.
I believe so. Yeah.
One of the highest watched shows right now, type of thing, and I can see why. It's really weird. I don't really want to give anything away because that'll kind of. But there's multiple parts to this thing, and it's just weird. And when I first on the outside looking in, I was kind of like, oh, have you seen that? The show, and I went, I don't know, it kind of looks weird. it's like, okay, you get these hillbillies from, and with the mullets and, the whole deal, and they're like, 30 years behind type thing. But it's, it's weird. You'd have to watch it for sure. It is worth a watch. I will say.
It is worth a watch. Okay.
It is worth a watch.
I will give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first I'm like, what? And then I'm hearing like all these all this shit going on with it. Like, I don't know. I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? Doesn't make any I don't know. This seems very, very odd.
Yeah, it is very,
very,
odd.
very odd.
I mean, there's points throughout the whole thing, and I could bring up a whole bunch of stuff, but it would have to be one of those things where, okay, if you haven't seen this yet, turn it off right now type thing. But I'm not going to go there. I won't go there today. I want to watch the whole thing first. But from what I've seen so far, it's whacked. But in a good way where it's kind of entertaining. Definitely entertaining.
Okay, I got one for you that I discovered called The Circle.
Okay.
Have you heard of that show?
No.
So it's a reality show. So the premise of the show is that I can't remember how many people. 8 people. Yeah, 8 people are put into this building,
right?
Which is all solar powered. It's a solar powered building. Got a big circle on the front of it, and everyone gets their own room and an interactive media. It's an interactive media suite they're in, so that there's TVs or screens in every single room,
mm-hmm.
and it's all voice activated. So they can, like you normally say, "Hey Siri" or Alexa, or
Google,
or Google, yeah, "Hey Google," whatever. You say that, you say, "Hey Circle, can you blah 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 blah." So all these 8 people, they're all on the same social media together. So there's 8 profiles in the system, and everyone has to create their profile, and then everyone can look at each other's profile. And it starts out, you post one picture and a brief description. And then what they do is they have to interact in a social media way. They never get to see each other face to face.
Oh.
But they interact with so they interact with each other in a social media way to win the game, and the game is to be the most popular person at the end of the show.
Okay.
By playing social media games.
Okay. When you first started, it almost sounded like their version of Big Brother, but it is
Big Brother, but it is like Big Brother, except they're not in the same room together. They're in the same apartment complex, but they're never allowed to interact except through social media.
Right. So they get cameras on them 24/7.
Yep.
And they have to
make they don't
popular.
show the 24/7. They don't show the 24/7 thing. Like, they don't go with that at all.
Right.
So the idea is that some people will enter this game as a catfish. That's how they want to play the game. I'm a catfish. I'm actually a 35-year-old married man.
Right.
Out of shape married man, and I'm going to pretend to be this buff 25-year-old extremely good looking guy, and I'm going to that's what I'm catfishing.
Oh, so they need some seasoned liars is what they're looking for, right?
Yeah, well, they've got a few of those on there.
So I've got the synopsis right in front of me. Want to read it off?
Oh yeah, read the synopsis. So how do they describe it?
Okay, so it says Big Brother meets Catfish. On this reality series, on which not everything is as it seems, comic Michelle Buteau hosts the show that features this.
She's great, by the way.
Yeah?
She is great, by the way, yeah.
Good. That features its contestants moving into the same apartment building. The twist is that the players never meet face-to-face during the competition, as each one lives in his or her own apartment. The contestants communicate exclusively through profiles created on the specifically designed social media app. This anonymity allows them to hide their true identities and portray themselves however they choose. Throughout the competition, the players rate one another, with the lowest rated players put at risk of being eliminated or blocked from the game. The contestant who survives the contest and emerges the winner takes home the $100,000 grand prize.
So it's it's more like a social experiment, kind of like Big Brother when it started out, and then Big Brother became something else.
Right.
But it's, strangely enough, it's a show that actually has a lot of heart, and I'm actually really enjoying it.
Oh, really?
Like, so I watched the whole season. Somebody would watch it. She's like, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. I'm like, oh. Because the first thing I saw was the thumbnail for it is one of the characters, Sammy, and she's wearing kind of like this see-through-ish top, which she wore at one point, and she wore for like part of an episode. But they sold it on the sex appeal thing.
Oh, there goes that she sold it on eBay.
Trying
to make herself popular. Hey, you want to buy my used shirt?
But I was turned off by it. Like, if this is what this show's about, like popularity and stuff, because I use social media because I have to for our show.
Right.
But I'm not big on the way most people use social media. Like, promote your work, promote the things you do. You know, I like it for that aspect, like from an advertising aspect, but most people use it to promote themselves and how hot their ass is. And I don't like that.
The shock and awe.
Really,
I want to get your attention.
So, interestingly enough, that character, she does a lot of booty shots online, on Instagram and stuff. Okay. So they're like, oh, we can use her to sell the sex aspect of the show. There's no sex in the show. Like, it's not anything like that at all. They don't interact.
Right.
You know? So anyway, the show was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It actually, I'm not going to tell you who wins, but I will say that it gave me hope in humanity after watching this show.
Oh.
That maybe social media is not as bad as people say it is.
Interesting.
So anyway, as a social experiment about how social media works and the bad things it brings, it also brought out that there's good things with social media as well, as long as you use it in the right way. So I really, really like that aspect of it. And now we're watching The Circle Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah, so he's working on the Portuguese. Oh. So we're watching that one now. So they did one in Brazil, but they flew everyone to this apartment complex, wherever the hell it is. Anyway, very, very, and it's only like 10 episodes or something, so it's something you and your girl could polish off fairly quickly.
Well, we'll probably finish off this Tiger King or whatever that guy is first, and then
I will give the Tiger one a shot. I think I'll give it a shot and see. But I'm going to finish The Circle Brazil first.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's, I think that's it. I think we can call it here. I'm going to get out of my office. I got my new Shaw modem today, which I'm afraid to hook up because if I can't get it working, I can't work. So I'm going to try to set it up on the weekend.
Now, when you say new from them, does that mean you went from MTS to Shaw, or you're just been with Shaw?
No. I called them and said, I'm paying too much. What can you do? And they said, we can double your internet speed.
Right. And
charge you less than what you're paying now.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people. What? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say the idea was, and the only reason I went for it was because far improved Wi-Fi signal.
Oh.
For like farther range, because I'm a floor below where the Wi-Fi is coming from.
Right.
And my kids stream a lot, and my wife streams a lot, and I'm working from home. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? If you're going to upgrade my modem for free and charge me less than you're currently charging me, and I have the option of reducing the plan at any time, but I get to keep my modem.
Right.
Sure. I'm in.
Yeah, people have been with a company a long time. It doesn't hurt to call and see.
Apparently not.
See, I've been a customer for X amount of years. What can you do for me? And 9 times out of 10, they'll give you some type of a deal, right?
Sure.
But if you're totally fed up with your provider, you just call up the next one and go, what can you do for me?
Yeah. Well, my wife's accountant. She's been with them since she was like 24, 25, somewhere thereabouts. So
right. But
You know?
very important, don't cancel your other provider until your new provider is hooked up.
Yes. But yeah, so first staying with Shaw.
Cool. Yeah,
I don't have a problem.
I'm with
MTS comes in every once in a while and tries to bump me, and but it's like, why? I've been with the same company for forever, and every time MTS shows up, I call Shaw and they're like, okay, we'll give you a better deal. So it's like, I don't really want to move.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I'm very excited. So we'll see.
Well, I hope it
I'll
works
hook it up on I'll hook it up on Friday night, and then we're probably going to do a lot of Xboxing this weekend. So we'll see how that works.
No lagging.
I'm curious. It would double the speed if we were to buy a game. How quick we can download that game? Very curious to see how that works.
Oh, that'd be a good test for sure.
Yeah, that'll be the test, because usually it takes like almost an hour. Well, depending on the size of the game.
Right.
We've had games take 2 hours to download.
Oh, crap.
And keep in mind, we have to download to 2 consoles, right?
Oh, yes.
So we usually do one console, let it do its thing, and then do the other console.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Sweet.
All right, but I'm going to sign off here, go see my family, go have some dinner.
All righty, sir.
Put this thing in your Dropbox, and then I will have it ready for Monday. And then we'll share the news of what I'm doing with Bandcamp.
Okay.
Monday. There's a few things I want to do there.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay.
All righty, sir.
All right.
We'll talk to you later.
We'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
See ya.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.